Hi, Joe Hart here again with another tip to hopefully make you a better guitarist and a better musician. This sort of goes along with the last tip, sort of like unlocking the mysteries of music or something like ooh. But it's the first thing I want to say is that a lot of students and even professional musicians, the biggest issue that they have is fear. They are just a fear of the unknown. You know, I mean, it's a very human thing. They're afraid to go outside of what they're comfortable with, and that stops a lot of people. So what I'm going to show you here is a way that you can view music so that it's really not scary at all. You know, I always have students, and you know, they work on a song and they practice it for a week or two, whatever. And I ask them to play it, and they're very confident, like, yeah, absolutely, da da da. And they play it, and you know, it sounds great. And then I say, okay, so now just play whatever, just improvise something. Let's just sort of, you know, jam a little bit, whatever. They suddenly like lock up, like deer in headlights. And they have no idea what to do, and the real issue they have is playing a bad note. You know, I mean, you know, aside from the obvious, so you play a bad note, who cares? You know, that's why you're here taking guitar lessons. You know, when you're on stage, you know, professional musician, I think you want to take risks. So, you know what, a bad note, who cares? Whatever, it's not a big deal. But people get really nervous about it and don't want to do it, so they stay within their little comfort zone, you know, a handful of licks, you know, dozens of licks, whatever, hundreds of licks. But it's within that comfort zone of things that they've already played before that they're comfortable with. And that's what I'm going to show you that you can sort of get out of. Okay, so besides the first obvious thing that, you know what, so you make a mistake, who cares? Okay? The other thing is, you know, that's why you're there. That's your learning. If you don't make mistakes, then you're not pushing yourself. You're not going above and beyond. You're just staying in a very safe zone. You're not pushing boundaries. So making mistakes is fine. You know, making mistakes is fine. So anyway, what I'm going to show you here is in music. Let's take the diatonic scale. 7 different notes. Okay, so you have 7 notes in any given key, any given scale. Diatonic, of course, pentatonic is only 5, but 7 that are good notes, that are safe notes, that are perfectly fine to play. Some sound better than others, some sound more interesting, some sound safer, whatever. But let's take 7 notes that are good to play. Okay, in Western music, you have 12 different notes. So 7 notes are safe, and 7 out of 12 is, you know, whatever, 56%, 56 and a third, I don't know, you know, but it's over 50% because 6 notes would be a 50%. And you know what? If I was in Vegas and there was a game that gave me a little bit better than 50% odds, I would never leave that table, because all you can do over the long run is win. So those are good odds. So anyway, here's what I'm going to show you. Okay, let's take a pentatonic, a diatonic scale, just any one. Okay, it's made up of whole steps and half steps. Okay, on a guitar, a whole step is 2 frets away with 1 note in the middle that isn't part of the scale, or half steps with no note in the middle. Okay, so if you just randomly pick any random note, okay, you have more than a 50% chance that it's going to be in that scale. Okay, we've already figured that out. 7 out of 12. You have a 7 out of 12 chance that it's going to be in that scale. Okay, if it's not going to be in that scale, you are only off by a half step in either direction. Okay, so you hit a bad note, bend it up to a good note, or slide it down to a good note. Either way, you can go any direction, a half a step, and you're right back in key. So as long as you're listening and you're playing and you hear a note that you don't like, bend it right up or slide it right down, and you're right back on a note that works. Okay, so you have a better than 50% chance just randomly, blindly hitting any note at all. And then even if you hit a bad note, which is, 45%, 43% chance, whatever, and you hear it's a bad note, which hopefully, you've been working on your ear training, you're just a half step away from a good note. So there's really nothing to fear. Okay, it would be like tightrope walking, okay, 2 inches above the ground. If you miss, you just go, oops, and then step right back on it. There's really nothing to fear in that scenario. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about here. So, pick up your instrument, start playing fearlessly. You can do it.